Why though? Why? Tell me why. Based on what? His age. Well, last season he was top goal scorer. De Bruyne, Grealish, Haaland. If that clicks this season, it's over for everyone. If you want a chance to drop to someone in this squad now, who do you want us to drop to? It'll be him.
United have been pretty impressive in pre-season so far. Some good results, some notably different style of football under Ten Hag. How optimistic are you that they might break into top 4 this season, or is it a bit too early to expect that?
I think it's too early. I think like you say, I'm happy with the style of football that he's implementing. I'm happy with a lot of the words and the conversations that you're seeing come out of the training ground, the discipline element within the squad, the identity of the team taking shape. They're the kind of things that I've been looking at and calling for. It is pre-season, it is too early to start jumping out about it and going, no, we're back and we're going to be the new Reform Man United. But those elements are the key bits for me. And if we can see an identity played out at the beginning of the season that kind of continues and is sustained, then I think we're on the right track.
There's been quite a few clips of Ten Hag in training sessions, kind of being very disciplinarian, keep the ball on the ground, shouting at a few players. I mean, presumably a lot of managers do that, but is it reminiscent of, Ferguson at all, or it feels like something new that hasn't been there for a while?
I wouldn't say it's reminiscent of anybody. I just think it's him, and I like it. I like the authoritative behaviour. I like the way that he's very sure and clear on what he wants, and if you're not carrying it out, he's going to tell you. And if I think back to when I played, I responded better to that. I want to know what you want, and I'm going to try and do it as best I can. If there's the grey areas, that I didn't like that. And I think that's a lot of players are like that. They want to be told, this is what I want. So in that sense, I feel very positive about it. And when you're watching the performance, and I don't really take much consideration into performances, into games and to results in pre-season. Yeah. But it's a nice indication as to the way they're playing, which is good. And whether that carries out into the season remains to be seen. But what we're seeing at the moment is making me feel a lot more positive than I have been in recent years.
I suppose one of the main issues, despite all those positives, is that Ronaldo wasn't on the tour with them, and obviously he was granted personal leave, and that's unfortunate that he hasn't been able to train under Ten Hag at the moment. So Martial's kind of been leading the line. There's also reports that he wants to leave. So do you think he should stay, or do you think they should part ways, or do you think maybe he should just go straight into the 11? Or
I think the biggest question, I think obviously Cristiano, I think he was given leave because of some issues personally, which is understandable. But the biggest thing for me is, if you're Man United, where are you going to find 20 goals? If you let Cristiano Ronaldo go now, where are the 20 goals coming from? Unless you believe in Martial and Rashford and Sancho to be able to fill that void. If he thinks that and he feels that and he's comfortable doing that, Cristiano probably goes to another team. The fact that Cristiano's not being allowed to go nowhere says to me that they want him back in the building because they know that he's going to get them 20 goals this season.
Is it a case of Ronaldo not being allowed to leave by the club, or because there's been a few links to clubs like
I don't know. I think we if we're to believe what the papers are saying that Cristiano wants to leave, I don't know. It's more about. I don't think it's about what Cristiano Ronaldo wants. I think it's more about where Man United are, and Man United looking at it and going, there's 20 goals there. We didn't get Haaland, we didn't get Núñez. Where's the other one we're going to get? And we have to pay 150 million plus to go and get him probably. Who is it?
Yeah.
So it's like almost like a deal for me that feels like it's going to be hard to really get done unless there's someone else. Or if the new manager says, you know what, I didn't know Martial, I didn't know Rashford, I didn't know Sancho, I didn't know Elanga. These guys, for me, we can do it without him.
If he does stay, do you think maybe now it would be maybe at his age now that he should potentially accept a slightly less prominent role? Maybe.
Why though? Why? Tell me why. Based on what? His age? Well, last season he was top goal scorer.
He was, but team didn't finish that high.
That's not his fault. He done what he's meant to do, score goals.
Yeah, okay, but so my point is, from Ten Hag's point of view, presumably he wants very mobile players who are all going to press, so, like the conversations around that. But the fact that maybe clubs aren't queuing up to sign him, wage demands and age could be a factor in that. So do you think maybe they'd be better off keeping him, but maybe not necessarily starting him every game, using him more sparingly.
Yeah, I think age and your body that tells you that. But I think when you look at someone like Cristiano, he's a very, very unique case. Physically, we've never seen anything like it. And I think you've got to look at his physicality and his profile in that sense and go, can he play a lot of games? Last season, he showed people, I can still play the games and I can still score the goal at the top level. Who in this team scores more goals than me? When a chance drops in this team, you put him in today without training, still in the game, you say, if you want a chance to drop to someone in this squad now, who do you want us to drop to? It'll be him.
Yeah.
So that tells you he's still going to be a massive part of what you're doing at the football club, at Man United where they are. And the fact that they've not allowed him to go nowhere, it tells me that. Because I think if Cristiano Ronaldo becomes available to go, yeah, there are going to be a lot of clubs, some clubs that don't want him, maybe because their project fits a different profile of player.
Yeah.
But there's still going to be takers. Because the geezer shows wherever he goes, he scores goals.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Elsewhere, we've seen Raheem Sterling go to Chelsea, a move that hasn't really received a lot of the hype that I feel it probably deserves, because maybe it's because we're very familiar with what he's like as a player now, but possibly one of the signings of the season, no?
Unbelievable signing for Chelsea, and the price.
The same as what City paid for him 7 years ago, I think.
Do you know what I mean? And he's developed into a much better player, more complete player. The thing with the Sterling transfer was like, it was mad. He's been so successful there, personally and within the team. There weren't like a big oh my God, we're letting Sterling go. And there wasn't like oh my God, we've got him.
Yeah.
It just didn't marry up to me. Do you know what I mean? For what I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he's top.
Both fan bases were a bit like
both
that.
Fan bases was like, yeah, okay, cool, it's happened.
Yeah.
I was like, that just when you think about it like that threw me a little bit.
Especially when you consider the player that Chelsea have been playing in that position is Timo Werner, who's been quite underwhelming in front of goal. They should be buzzing with that, right?
Yeah, and the only problem I think with Chelsea, I think is probably the fact that they haven't bought as many players as they assumed they would, and they've let go, or players are looking to get out. Yeah, that's probably the overriding story.
Yeah, Sterling will presumably score a lot of goals for Chelsea.
I think he will.
I guess the reason why City were willing to let him go is because they've got to give Grealish a chance to have a run of games in that same position.
Yeah, and Grealish is going to be a problem this year for people.
In a good way.
I think he's going
to kick on?
Just that snippet I saw in pre-season with a link up with Haaland. De Bruyne, Grealish, Haaland. If that clicks this season, it's over for everyone.
So, on that note, I mean, do you think there's any chance that anybody else wins the league this season?
Yeah, Liverpool got a chance.
Okay, so it's going to be those two again.
Them two.
Right.
No one else gets close to them two again, I don't think. I still think it's 6-8 points between second and third. The gap's that big between the teams. If someone like Spurs make that gap up, it's a huge, huge, huge gap to make up. They'll be doing something to do that. Liverpool and City, again, I think it'll be a tools race. I think City win it.
Do you think Spurs are in the best position to break up that duopoly, or at least finish third? Or
yeah, I think Spurs. It's a Conte factor. I just feel his attitude. It's just like it's so infectious. I think that the players just buy into him. You either buy in or you're gone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no this is it. You stay here with me, and I'm going to take you to where you need to get to win things, or have at least a chance to win stuff. And I just think that's been infectious. And I get a feeling out of the place at the moment that the players are loving being there. They're loving him. Yeah. It's hard, it's demanding, but he could make us win. That's what it feels like that's there at the moment. And that ain't been there for a while.
You see that in pre-season. I'm sure you saw the clips and the photos of the Spurs players collapsing after their runs in
that
pre-season.
was funny. That made me think I'm happy I'm not doing pre-season anymore.
I bet. Who was your kind of, or when was your toughest pre-season? Like, who was really hammering?
Pre-seasons for me were easy.
Oh, really?
Because we never done much running as I got older. Science took over, and we weren't doing much running. And I'm a good runner.
Yeah.
Long distance and medium distance. West Ham was an absolute horrific pre-season. There was back in the day when I was a kid. There's no science. You turn up. I used to turn up from a lad's holiday in Ann Appa the day before, and I'd go straight out and we'd do a 12-minute run in the forest, in the heat, in Hainault Forest. Recover for a couple of minutes. You do 3 of them, 12-minute runs, and then you do hill runs. First day back. Now it was almost like when you walked in the next day, it was like, who's still standing?
Yeah.
You walk in, everyone's walking in like they're 80 years old. It was unbelievable. Everyone seized up.
Probably not that helpful either.
Scientifically, the worst thing you could probably do.
Yeah. Is this...
Nowadays, and seeing them guys, the Harry Kanes and the Sons throwing up and keeling over at the side of the pitch, just brought back bad memories.
I guess Conte's a good mix of the old school and the new in that sense, right?
But I spoke to Lukaku when he first came back from Italy to Chelsea.
Yeah.
And that was the thing he said about Conte. I said to him, what was it like over there with Conte? He seems like a madman. He said, Rio, no one's got me fit like this guy. He said, it's hard.
Yeah.
But in my diet, he looked at what I was eating, my nutrition, and then running the life out of me. He said, unbelievable. He said, I feel unbelievable.
Jesse Lingard's gone to Nottingham Forest. There's been a lot of criticism of him for that transfer, which kind of a bit surprising. What do you make of that? It's just a one-year contract, but it seems like a good move for both club and player.
I think for Nottingham Forest, they've done really well getting him. I just think that with the biggest question in it is what did Jesse want? Was it monetary, or was it going to a team where he's had success and he's been happy and he knows that they love him there? And he found that smile again and that feeling of playing football and doing well. What was it? Was it that, or was it money? If he says and comes out as I've chosen money, I respect that. It's fine. It's a business as well.
Yeah.
It's football, but it's a business.
Short career.
And it's a short career. Yeah. I understand that if he's done that, but. Would I do it? If you just had a question to me, would I have done that? I would have gone where I'm happiest and I'm going to play football and I'm going to have a chance to get back in the England squad. That's what I'd have done.
Playing at Forest maybe doesn't give him as good a chance of getting him back into the England squad, but maybe that's not top of his priority.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't know the answer to these questions. Yeah. What's his priority? What was his priority? Was it location and was it money? Or against happiness, past history at the club, fans love him, players love him, the manager gets the best out of him.
And either way, it's fine, right?
Yeah, listen, he can do what he wants, he's his own man, do you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think it's something to kind of beat him with.
Do you think they're going to stay up, or because they were very impressive?
I think it's very difficult for Nottingham Forest to stay up. I think, like you say, the influx of new players makes it even more difficult, if I'm honest. He obviously felt that he couldn't compete in the league if he kept the same players that he had, or the nucleus of the same players. So it's going to be a good test. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. Cooper's got a good reputation at the moment, so I'll see how he's going to compete in the league this next season.
Brilliant. Okay. Thank you so much for
your time.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.